Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you all had a great Easter. It is now Monday. Time to get back to work on the FJ. So we got the motor and tranny pulled out of this thing. We are going to focus on going through this engine today. Now, I'm not going to go to rebuild the entire engine. What I plan on doing is oil pump, water pump. I got a different oil pan. And then basically just a bunch of gasket seals. Make sure this thing is sealed up. I'm not gonna, like I said, this thing ran really good. No noise, no smoke, there was one little leak on the back of the engine, which I think is coming from that rear cover. Other than that, there was no leaks. This thing should be pretty solid. So like I said, I think for now we're just gonna go through and do all the gasket seals, water pump, oil pump, that kind of stuff. Also, I did buy a cam for it, so we're gonna do a cam. And then the stock rocker arms have these bearings in them that apparently fall apart. So I got some bronze bushings from CHP, I believe. So we're gonna swap that out. We got a bunch of work to do. Now you guys know I'm not super familiar with these LSs. Now I did some research. Seems like most people don't do lifters and push rods. I know it's kind of debatable on a higher mile engine to do lifters and push rods, but I don't know. I think I'm just gonna leave it for now. If we do have issues in the future, obviously I'm gonna tackle it then. So I think I want to leave the heads on for now and not worry about the lifters or anything like that. So that's the game plan. Also, we got some bolts to get out. We got a few broken header bolts. We have stripped out threads in the transfer case that we need to put a helicoil in. So we're just gonna go through everything with this engine tranny. Also, clocker ring. We still haven't got that clocking ring. So once we get that, we can get that on the transfer case. But I just wanna go through, get everything ready for the motor, transfer case, and transmission. Get this thing set back in the FJ for good. So that is the game plan. Let's get this thing on the Harbor Freight engine stand. I'm a little leery because even with like a 4-cylinder, that thing is kind of flimsy. I don't know. I'm gonna put it on there and see how sketchy it is. What I may do is just have the engine hoist kind of holding up the engine and taking a lot of load off the stand, just because I don't really trust that thing. It's kind of, like I said, it's kind of flimsy. But I don't know, that's a game plan. I think I might go through actually first and pull the water pump and stuff off the front, just kind of get a lot of the weight off the front of the engine, and then we'll get it on the stand and kind of see how it feels. What I think we might actually do before we throw it on the stand is, I think the main oil leak, you can see this back is kind of full of oil. I figured it was the rear main seal, so I bought a new rear main, but I didn't realize this thing had this big cover on the back, which there's a bunch of oil pooled up underneath here. So I think the gasket up here is leaking. So I don't actually have that gasket. I got to run to the parts store and grab this gasket. We're going to pull that cover off, swap out the main seal, get that gasket back on, get that all sealed back up, and then we'll throw this thing on the stand and get to work on the rest of it. All right, little update for you guys, keep you in the loop on what we're doing. So we are ready to pull this camshaft out. Now all we got to do is pull out these 3 bolts for the cam gear, and then there's a retaining plate. We pull that off, then we can pull the cam out. But before we do that, we got to turn the motor over. So I pulled the rocker arms and the push rods out. We got to turn the motor over, and that helps to push up the lifters. And then what we got to do is behind that retaining plate, there's a hole in the block we can shove some rods into. I got 1 dowel rod here and then some all thread. I'm hoping there's nothing in there that you can really scratch with that all thread. So we're gonna go that route because I got what I got. I don't feel like going to the store. So we got to shove those in to hold the lifters up. That way we can pull the camshaft out. One other thing, I don't think this rear cover was leaking. I think what's actually leaking is the camshaft sensor right here. There's an O-ring down in there that apparently it's common leak. So I found a guy on eBay that sells these. GM doesn't sell just the O-ring. So I found a guy on eBay to have those. So I bought one for cam and I bought one for the crank sensor as well, just to make sure those don't leak. So like I said, we're going to turn this motor over, pull the timing set off. I do have a new timing set, and we will, like I said, push the rods in and then pull the camshaft out. Well, I tried those rods I had, and after looking at it a little bit, you can look down in these bores and you can see the lifters kind of on the edge. What the point of the rods are for is kind of pinch the lifter between the actual lifter and the block here, and they were both too small. So I just went, hopefully these are going to be a little bit tighter. These are 5/16 wood dowels. That's what everybody seems to use. So what we're gonna do is shove these in there, and that should hold the lifters. You just really don't want those lifters to fall down into the motor. Then it's a pain in the butt to get them back in. Well guys, after some fight, we finally got this camshaft out. So I was getting the cam out till where the first or the second journal was coming back through the cam bearings, and it got super tight. I kind of had to crank it through there. We did scratch the cam bearings a little bit. I'm not too worried about that because just a fine small scratch in the cam bearings, all that's gonna do is hold oil. It's not really gonna hurt anything unless it's like a super deep scratch. Nothing to worry about. But we have a much bigger problem now. This cam, I pulled it out and I noticed some of the lobes have what they call camshaft spalling. Either that or something straight up just went through this camshaft and destroyed a few of the lobes. So with that being said, I'm sure the lifters need to be replaced as well. So I'm not gonna throw a nice expensive cam into a engine with some crapped out lifters. So it looks like we're pulling the heads off, and we're probably gonna have to do lifters and push rods. Honestly, it kind of sucks, but honestly it's not that bad because might as well freshen up the head gaskets and lifters. Like I said, this motor ran really good. I wasn't worried about the lifters making noise or anything, but with that damage on the camshaft, these lifters are shot. They need to be replaced. Well, you guys guessed it. I'm already this far. We're down to literally the block, crank, and rods, pistons. We might as well just rebuild this thing. I know I said I didn't want to. Like I said, it ran really good, but we're already this far. It would really suck to put all this time and money into this engine, put it back in, and have some sort of failure with, I don't know, ring, start smoking or something. So we are here. We might as well just do this. So I'm not using the same shop that I have used in the past that have screwed up 2 blocks of mine actually. There's another shop that's really good. Last time I called them, they were like 6 months out, but now they say they can get it done in about a week. So we are gonna flip this thing over. We're gonna pull crank rods, pistons out, drop it off. Hopefully he can get it done within the week. He's really, really good. I know it's gonna turn out really good. Now, I don't think we'll have to bore it. He said he'll run it through and check everything, obviously, and see what we're looking like as far as bore wise, but it's in really good shape. The bore, I turned it over, the bore looks really good. So we shouldn't need to bore it, just, you know, hone it and throw new pistons in and then all new bearings, everything. We might as well do it since we're already here. So that's the game plan. We're gonna tear this thing down and drop it off at the machine shop. Well, motor's at the machine shop. Hopefully within a week we'll have it back. I also dropped the heads off to have rebuilt just to make sure those are good to go. They're gonna go through, and actually I gave them my springs and they're gonna go through, do all the guides, seals, springs, everything for me. So it's gonna be nice. This is gonna be a brand new motor. I really didn't want to go this far. It is what it is. I guess we'll have a brand new motor at the end of the day. So I'm not too mad about it. It's just kind of more time I'm worried about. I don't feel like sitting around for a week, but I'm sure we can find something to do in the meantime. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap this one up here, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Why don't you go smash that thumbs up button, comment, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.